Thank you for joining us for Prep Extra Live. I'm Aram Talegian, joined by Fred J. Robledo. Freddie, really abbreviated schedule tonight. This is the post-game show for Week 5's action. What you had tonight was a lot of teams taking a bye week, or a lot of teams going into their league openers or into their second week of league play. So it made for kind of an interesting night. Freddie, why don't you help yourself to a victory cupcake there? Nothing wrong with that.
The show at 10 o'clock, and look at the new logo, the SoCal Prep Legends logo.
Now, a lot of people are probably wondering, what is SoCalPrepLegends.com? Well, that's something that, a new initiative, if you will, that we've taken on this year, and a lot of you have probably already been to it to vote for your favorite athlete. This is kind of a culmination of our 9 newspapers. I want to say 9 if I'm not mistaken. Kind of like a home base for all of them as far as voting for athletes of the week, plays of the week, that type of thing. And then hopefully, Freddie, or I guess culminating in an award show. It's going to culminate
in an ESPY-style show at the end of the season that includes our 9 dailies. We're going to award an athlete of the year, a male athlete of the year, female athlete of the year. There's going to be a lot of awards. I mean, it's something we could talk about later, but that's what the new logo is up there. It's SCPL, SoCal Prep Legends, and every week you can look on our websites. Like Aram said, we'll have a boys and girls athlete of the week, football plays of the week. There's voting. It's really interactive, and it's great. It's taking off. We had one day last week, 20,000 visitors on one day, Aram, to the new website. So it's really taking off. Look it up, SoCalPrepLegends.com. But tonight, let's talk some Prep Extra live football. Not a lot of teams playing right here. You were just saying it was kind of a weird night because half the teams in the Valley,
more than half,
were using the bye week with the league starting next week. The Palomares and the Hacienda. On Thursday night, you had some teams getting done early, like Glendora and San Dimas. They both won big games. That was, Thursday night might have been bigger than Friday night.
Seems that way. Certainly more exciting, at least, as far as the final scores go.
But there was one team in the Valley, one big team in the Valley, Aram, that played tonight.
Yeah.
They put on a show.
Right. So, and Freddie could be talking about none other than my alma mater, Temple City. Freddie, tonight, first
27-26
second win of the season. I know you really wanted to get into that right now. Boy, all joking aside, what's that kind of say about Azusa? I mean, my Rams really struggling for wins these past few years, and this Azusa team really, really down. So yeah. Anyways, no, I think what Freddie was referring to tonight was Bishop Amat's big win over Crespi, a Crespi program that had beaten Amat the last couple years. Certainly beat them last year, in a game that left a bad taste in Amat's mouth. It was a 1-point loss, I want to say. It was one of those games that Amat last year had no really excuse losing. I know Crespi was good, and I know, for now a year, Amat really wanted to get revenge, and tonight, just from the word go,
they were scoring on every drive, Aram. It was 7, 14, 20, 20. I mean, by halftime, you knew there was going to be a running clock, and it was another Toriano Sweet show. And what a night to have a night like this. He had 5 touchdowns, 4 in the first half. It was 2 weeks ago that he scored 5 touchdowns. I forget how many he has in the last 3 games. There's 10 in 2 games.
Yeah.
I think it's 14
He's
touchdowns.
He's got 20 now. 20 or 21.
14 in the last 3 games. Imagine if he didn't miss those 2 games where he sat out. But this was pretty amazing. This was in front of the 1995 championship team. I mean, there must have been about 30 of those guys in that team watching the show tonight. None other than Ralph Brown, and he was there. I talked to him. You can go on my website. He gave his thoughts on that championship 20 years ago and what he thought of this team tonight. He gave his thoughts on Toriano Sweet. He came away, really impressed. I think everybody did. And we were talking about this just before we came on. It's not just they're winning, it's the way that they're putting these teams away, knocking them out before halftime, really knocking them out at the end of the first quarter. And these are Pac-5 teams. This isn't Bishop Amat taking on an easy area teams or the games that they're gonna run the table on. These are Crespi, a team like you just said, that they struggled with last year. The week before, Notre Dame, another team that's traditionally, since I've been covering them, these are all close games. The Mission League has always been super tough. Every game you've been in, and they're making it look so darn easy.
Yeah.
They're looking, for lack of better words, Corona Centennial-ish, St. John Bosco-ish. Bishop Ahmadish. I mean, that's really what it is. And the next 2 weeks that I think you really find out. For me, in this league, it's going to come down to Alemany and
I'm not sure Alemany played tonight.
Not Alemany was off, but
Sarah won.
That's who they get next week. They're going to be both 2-0. I think it's going to come down to. I think Amat's going to win it, but it's going to come down to Sarah and Alemany. And these are the next 2 games they have: Sarah, and then their last home game at Keeper the following week. Right here. These are the games right now, the bread and butter. Are they going to be great games? I don't know. It's so hard to think Amat's going to lose at this point. The way they're rolling over people, I can't wait to see them in a competitive game. But you think, Aram, they're getting healthy again? Trayvon Sidney came back tonight. Next week they're going to be getting back Kai Higgins. He was out that second game of Servite, hurt his knee. Talked to his dad this week. He had an MRI. It came back negative. He could have played tonight. Precautionary. They sat him out one more week. Pretty smart. They're getting ready for the big game. I mean, this team is just. You're seeing them get people healthy. You're seeing this confidence. You're feeling this atmosphere. I didn't cover the team in 1995 or the 90s. I came on late 90s as a reporter at the Tribune. But I've never seen Amat like this. I watched him as a fan like this in the 90s when I used to go to games, enjoyed high school football. I haven't seen a team like this. This is the real deal, Aaron.
Yeah, Sarah, the team that Amat plays last night, looks like the team that's going to give them, the most difficulty of anyone. Is maybe Alemany, but you look at what Sarah did tonight. They pulled away late to beat Notre Dame 35-20. Last week, Amat has Notre Dame done at halftime.
Yeah.
So you start to talk about St. John Bosco and Centennial, the way they're putting away teams, and I lump Mater Dei into that because Mater Dei's actually played a more difficult schedule than St. John Bosco, and we'll see what happens when those two teams meet in the league. But you look at Bishop Amat now, whereas a couple weeks ago I didn't think you should put them in the same class as Bosco and Centennial, I think they're in that class, and Mater Dei is too, and I think those are your 4 clear favorites now in the Pac-5. And maybe Long Beach Poly with that new,
I don't think you're going to get a lot of arguments from a lot of people. I don't think this is homerism at all. I think you're going to
not at all.
Outside are going to start saying they're legitimate top 4, top 5 teams. Those are the teams that you're going to have to watch down the stretch. Mikey just sent me a note that you're going to have to watch out for Loyola. That'll come later in the year.
I don't believe.
I'm not buying that right now. That was my conclusion when I say Mikey.
And you look at this Bishop Amat team, and we've talked about it. And I tweeted to you tonight the debate at this point. Maybe we can revisit it later. Maybe there will be debate later as far as Tribune Player of the Year. Just talking Tribune. For Toriano Sweet, there is no debate right now. I mean, he's running away with it. What he's doing, I mean, this amount of touchdowns, playing only a half, piling up the yardage that he is. He's the difference right now. He's what is kind of putting Amat over the top. Not saying there aren't other great players on the team. There are, of course. But boy, he's really running away with it. I mean, it's like the same thing. You look at what Carson Glazier's doing at San Marino, Fred.
Yeah.
He's leading the Southern section in yards passing and tied for the lead in touchdowns. That's your player of the year. I mean, in the Star News area right now, until someone comes and beats him, that's how it is. I know in the Tribune area there's Matt Fink and there's Zion Eccles, and maybe those guys go on to win league titles, league MVPs, and CIF titles. We'll see. A lot has to be played out. But right now, Toriano Sweet this is one of the best seasons we've seen for a running back in this area. I mean, this is almost like those Sierra Vista numbers that you almost don't believe. You see like a Sierra Vista kid with 360 and 5 touchdowns every week, and you're kind of like, I don't believe it. Well, that's what he's doing at the Pac-5,
and the thing
upper level.
The thing about Bishop Amat, Aaron, they never have to get to their second option, their third option. There's so many different ways they could beat you.
Right.
But it's giving the ball to Sweet. He takes it up for, he takes care of it. You don't have to get to Sydney. You have to get to Vanja. You don't need Damian Garcia, to break off some big runs as a quarterback. I mean, they're giving the ball to him. He's taking care of business early. The game is over. But
right.
Running clocks in the fourth quarter, first 2 Mission League games. That's how easy he's making it look. And Amat's defense has looked spectacular too in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
every phase of this team is playing really good. I mean, Crespi, Notre Dame, seen them both. Those teams never had a chance against Amat. I mean, it's amazing how easy they're making this look. I mean, this reminds me. I mean, it's like I'm watching Monrovia play Blair. Monrovia played Temple City in years past, or San Dimas, the way they would roll through. Whoever they'd roll through in the Valley Vista when they were on a roll. That's what they've done the first 2 weeks of the mission. I don't expect it to be like this all the way through. I think the next 2 weeks are the big weeks. Will it be a competitive game? At this point, I just think that they're too much for everybody. I was talking to some people on the sidelines. They just think it's one of those years where maybe the mission isn't as strong as it's been in recent years, but it's part of it not being as strong and Amat having the best team that's had.
I would agree.
In a long time. I think we got Stevie showing up right now. Here he is. Stevie is showing us all up with the breast cancer awareness tie tonight. Last week it was the orange shirt?
The chrome green shirt.
The chrome green, yeah. Last week he was the Jolly Green Giant. Today he's breast cancer awareness.
I'm not sure I'm a giant. At a 5'4".
Stevie was at the Amat game tonight.
Stevie, give us some numbers. What was the final score? What did he tally up tonight?
I had him for 185 on 14 carries.
14 carries, Aaron.
Yeah.
Average, that computes to a 13.2.
Can I offer you a cupcake?
Yeah.
No, I'm swore off cupcake.
Now, Steve Ramirez has seen a lot of great backs in the Valley.
Yeah.
Stevie, to me, is,
Steve,
what were your thoughts of Toriano and how he made it look?
Very impressive. I mean, not only is he fast, he's explosive. He ran right through guys, and then, once in the secondary, no defensive back doesn't like that feeling of this big guy who can run by you or run through you.
He's got these Earl Campbell tree trunks for legs. I mean, he's and he's got some explosive speed. He gets in the open field, but you're right. He's such a hard guy to bring down. He runs. It's not like he's always bouncing outside. Sometimes he just runs through the holes, and it's fun to watch. And Aaron, you're going to get to see him next week against Sarah.
Right.
Don't jinx it. I hope Aram.
What do you mean jinx it?
Whatever. It's just something about the Aram aura. I'm just kidding, Aram.
Well, I don't know. How would I jinx it?
I don't know.
Only thing I'm going to jinx is myself when I'm down there playing poker at a card club in Gardena for 2 hours, killing time before the game.
Okay. But okay. Now, when we talked to Toriano after the game. I mean, he's always. What did he say to you, Steve?
I asked him about what it meant to beat Crespi after losing. That was their one loss in the league. It cost them a chance to win the league outright, and he said it was a big win for them. But he said we just wanted to show that we can hang with a team like Crespi. So kind of like coaches speak a little bit. He doesn't want to.
He's a real humble kid.
So.
He's not braggadocious at all, and
I wish there were
other players that we could have talked to tonight, but they've got this whole let's hustle the team off the field. I mean, this is such a great year to have players in the field. In past years, there's always been a lot of guys you could talk to because there's a lot of other media, and there were a lot of other media guys there tonight because there's a lot of people who are doing highlights of Bishop Amat this year. And they're trying to get interviews, and coaches are hustling them off the field. It's like, come on, Bishop Amat. I know the tailgate stuff you've eliminated. Everyone has to party on Orange Avenue, and the street cleaners got to take care of it the next day. But let these players enjoy this is their moment. They want to talk to us. Everybody's so friendly there. The parents, the fans, the students. It's such a great time, and they
not everybody.
They hustle them off. Yeah, Coach Haggerty. He's another one. We haven't. He's not really happy. He's not really happy with a lot of the coverage that we've given to Bishop Amat or the maybe it's the type of coverage.
You got to be specific here, Freddie, because they're on the cover of our football preview.
I should say
there's like about 5-6 articles in there dedicated to them. What's he not happy about? What part of the coverage is they've been the featured game? 3 out of the 5 weeks, 6 weeks this year? What's he not?
It's not the amount of coverage. I guess he just doesn't like the type of coverage that we provide, whether it's our blogs and if there's a negative comment, whatever it is. He hasn't talked to us since the second week, and we'll see how long that goes. I mean, I think everyone's still having a good time covering Bishop Amat, but it's too bad we don't get his thoughts on the game so we could share it with the families, with the Valley, with the people who want to hear it. But that's his decision. Steve, we're always here ready to talk to you. That's on you. Whenever you want to talk and talk about the team, we're fine. But after the games, it's tough on us. We're reporters. We want to talk to all of these guys. And all these players want to talk to us to hustle them off into the locker room. Everyone's on tight deadlines. We have jobs to do, just like you've got a job to do. This is the first time I've ever seen them hustle players away like this and get them off real quick, like it's like they're USC or UCLA. There's no big press conferences, guys, in these locker rooms after the games. We don't have 45 minutes after a game to write a story, but we do the best we can. We'll talk to them, but this is the path that Bishop Ahmad or Coach Steve Haggerty's chosen in not speaking with us right now, and we'll see how that goes. We'll continue to cover the team because that's what we do. And like I said, we're always here whenever he wants to join in and give us his thoughts on the team. But this is where he's at right now with that, Aaron.
Well said. Okay, moving on. Another big game tonight, and you could say this is one of the bigger ones in Southern California, was St. Francis undefeated going to Calabasas, also undefeated. Calabasas was the team that, by some estimates, brought in 25 transfers.
Yeah.
Some other estimates 20. Whatever your number is, they certainly reloaded with a bunch of people. I mean, this was a game last year. I think Freddie was 42-7, I want to say, or 45-7. Wow. St. Francis won.
Wow.
Tonight, St. Francis loses and loses royally. Calabasas. Well, it happens because Calabasas got in a bunch of guys, including a 5-star recruit, one of the top recruits in not the 16 class, but the 2017 class, Darnay Holmes, who has Pasadena connections and is not going to a Pasadena or SGV school. Anyways, they have Casey Clausen as their coach, who St. Francis head coach Jim Bonds coached for 3 years at Alamany when Clausen was a player and Bonds was the head coach. You know, if you'd have told me that St. Francis loses this game, I wouldn't be surprised. But 34-0, I'm really, really shocked.
Well, this is how you turn into a superpower overnight when you get over 30 transfers.
But 30 now.
Yeah. Well, how many is it?
Well, I mean, some people say, I don't know. Just to be careful, I'd say 15 to 25.
Yeah, it was so much that the CIF Assistant Secretary to step in and say, guys, could you read?
Well, they actually, they kind of did look it out. Yeah, they kind of did. Yeah. CIF did kind of conduct a little look-see.
And this is where CIF, I understand their hands are tied. They get so many transfers, thousands of transfers. They can't look into all of them. Yeah. But this is the problem you get, Aaron and Steve, when you're asking schools to police themselves because they're not policing themselves. This is why, to me, you just let people go where they want to go. You let families decide
I agree.
where they want to go.
Right.
Because you have these situations, you can't police them. The schools aren't going to police themselves. If they can get the students in the school that want to play, they're letting them play.
Some, a lot of them, yes.
Through history,
right.
We've just seen it happen too. It just happens. I could think of a lot of public schools here in the San Gabriel Valley where there are players that go there that live in different places. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Just open it up, because
Well, we find out when these kids go to college, where they list their hometown on their college roster. We find out what school they probably should have been going if they went to their home school.
Yeah. But it's just silly to say that, we're trying to police these or we have rules for transfers and you can get this many at one place where it's so blatantly obvious and you see the quick turnaround. And there's nothing really you can do but ask the schools to police themselves. And obviously they're not policing themselves because there's no way that this many super players moved into that area all at once. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Right. And that's Kardashian country, Freddie.
I'm from Missouri on that. You got to show me. I got to see the address changes.
That's not cheap real estate. Calabasas is kind of the cool spot for the certain parts of, like I said, Kardashian countries, celebrity, certain celebrity crowd. Keyshawn Johnson is another reason why. I think he's an assistant coach there. Calabasas threw at the Charter Oak passing tournament this past spring, and, I got to see them, and you could see how reloaded or loaded they were, and Keyshawn was out there coaching. His son plays at Calabasas. So you have that thing like what Diamond Bar had a couple years ago with, Snoop's kid being there. It attracts all these other kids to want to play there. I guess they like the increased spotlight or whatever.
And I know a lot of people hate this, but it doesn't bother me at all.
Doesn't bother me either.
And I'll tell you why, because a lot of these parents they're bringing them there to play football. They're bringing them there for the exposure.
Right.
They're trying to get their kids a scholarship or into a school. I get it. Let them. It's their kids. I just never have a problem with it. I know a lot of other people do. I just say at this point, with the rules that they are in place, if If a kid gets in a school and the school districts allow them in there, that's it. You're eligible. Let's move on. You don't need any rules. If the school districts are going to let them in there and they're taking classes, they're enrolled in that school and they're going, done deal. We need to look at it anymore.
Right.
That's just my 2 cents on that. Yeah. This isn't CIF's fault at all. Don't get upset with them. This is the way the member schools have written the laws in their favor, so things like this could happen.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with CIF, they're not the NCAA. They don't have that type of budget where they have an enforcement
oversight
committee. To look in
enforcement.
Enforcement to look into any type of breaking of the rule. They just have to accept. They get the transfer paperwork. And they just have to accept it on face value.
So where in the Valley would you like to see like the super turnaround in 1 year? 40 super transfers at some little... Wouldn't that be awesome if it happened like at where, Aaron?
Temple City.
Huh? Why not Temple City? Great school district there. We get a great coach in there. 40 transfers all of a sudden. 70s reloaded all over again. Keppel.
I want to see Keppel, who hasn't won a league game in quite some time, and just become that'd be interesting.
Muir comes to mind. Pasadena comes to mind.
It's not happening here.
We used to kind of have it with Los Altos and Gano. Those were fun years.
In Bogan and South Hills for a while.
Bogan and South Hills. Those were fun teams to and boy, there's a lot of animosity when you get guys in. It's really incredible. The private schools can do what they do, but boy, when a public school starts getting a bunch of kids in, like Upland did a few years ago, and now Calabasas, boy, there's a lot of animosity.
That's why South Hills got kind of pushed out of the Valley Vista League.
Right.
The principals at Covina and Northview at the time, they kind of used their powers of politics.
They pushed them out.
To push them out.
They went from Division 9 to Division 2 over the course of like 10, 11 years or 8 years.
Yeah.
But for those schools who've done that, who've allowed guys to come in, who's watched their football teams transform into something spectacular, look what it's done for their schools, too.
Oh, it's huge.
Look what it's done. You go to a lot of these places now, South Hills, home games, it's not packed. A lot of these places, that used to be like... you used to have they used to go to those football games and there was just that energy. It's not there because those teams aren't winning because they've reverted back to checks and balances on a lot of these kids. They can't get in as easy as they used to, and it just kind of saps the energy out of the programs, saps the energy out of just that whole Friday night feeling. Where they've got that, you go to a Bishop. You were at the Bishop Montgomery tonight. That's as good as it gets. Yeah. In terms of high school atmosphere,
especially with the student section in the end zone there, they're just having fun all night long.
That's a private school.
Yeah, it's a private school, but that's what happens when you win and things are happening.
One kind of late final, just sort of semi-in, is Muir with a huge win tonight.
Wow, really?
Over Burbank, 21-20. Our reporter Vincent Nguyen was out at that game. That's a huge win for Muir, who was really up against it after opening league play in the Pacific with a loss to Burroughs last week. Now Muir's playoff hopes are very much alive. Muir's league title hopes are very much alive. That's their first win of the season, and what a great time to get it. So congrats to Coach Antoine Sims and the guys out there at Muir. Another big Pacific League game that I was at tonight. Arcadia pulls away from Pasadena to win. I think that was, 31-7 final, or you have it there, Freddie, 38-7.
38-7.
Yeah, Pasadena really limited on offense. I remarked early in the game I liked how they played kind of a Big Ten style, conservative on offense, good on defense, but that kind of got away from them. When they had to move the ball, they couldn't. Arcadia, good little team, Freddie. They're 3-2 now, 2-0 in league. If this Pacific is going to be kind of herky-jerky and wide open and heckle and jive,
Jekyll and Hyde, huh? What's Hyde?
Jekyll and Hyde. Excuse me, I didn't take my pills.
You haven't eaten?
Yeah, I haven't had my cupcake yet. Everything will be fine in about 20 minutes. No, anyways, if that's the kind of league that it's going to be, and Arcadia, can stay somewhat consistent, then they're going to have a real shot, which would be good for them, to make the playoffs. PHS now really up against it.
Another score tonight, Damien's showing a little bit of life, 34-21 over Ayala. But you look at the last 2 weeks, Ayala and South Hills, they've beaten two teams who are having very good seasons themselves. And now Damien goes into the baseline
league, which is going to be a whole different reality.
So good luck with that. How about the Thursday night games? Glendora, Matt Fink with the big fourth quarter final minute to pull that game out. They win 29-24 over Kaiser. And then San Dimas also down 14-0 early to Cal. As Steve Ramirez was at that game, they won 28-21.
Yeah.
Pretty good Thursday night.
Yeah, that game was kind of decided by a play at the goal line where San Dimas got a safety after being stopped on downs inside Cal's 10, and then a penalty, and put the ball back at the 1, and that created where San Dimas was able to get the safety. They got the ball back and drove down and took the lead, and they controlled. I mean, of the 12 minutes in the third quarter of that game, they must have had the ball in 9-10 minutes.
Right. We just spent way too much time on that game.
Well, it's just,
it's a Thursday night game. All I'm going to say about Glendora is if, the game's tight and in the last minute Glendora needs a touchdown to win, you just know Matt Fink's going to get it done, and he did that last night. Moving on, in the Mission Valley League tonight, a game that was going to go a long ways toward determining the league championship. Arroyo makes easy work of El Monte tonight. El Monte, entered the season with a lot of high expectations. They haven't quite lived up to them, but, they're kind of back in their own element, so to speak, playing Arroyo tonight. Arroyo's the perennial power in that league, even though they missed the playoffs last year, and El Monte had beaten them, and Rosemead won the league. Arroyo looks like they're right back to being the powerhouse team in that league. They win easy tonight, and then
you thought that was going to be a lot closer, didn't you?
I did. I thought El Monte would be able to hang. I saw earlier that Rosemead was losing to Gabrielino. Did we get a final on that?
Yeah, 47-30 Rosemead.
Okay, so Rosemead does come back, and they beat Gabrielino. It's looking like that Arroyo-Rosemead game, for all intents and purposes, is going to be for the Mission Valley League title tonight.
Just like it used to be. Back in
right,
the day.
Exactly. So, I mean, good for Coach Singheiser and the Knights. They look to be back on track in the Mission Valley League, and we'll see what happens elsewhere down the road. I don't know if there were any. I mean, kind of an abbreviated slate. I don't know if there was really much else to mention. I know that La Puente won tonight. You saw the tweet that went out tonight. I guess they're alleging that there was some sort of vandalism that took place at La Puente. Some kind of rivalry week stuff with Workman.
There's some more work for us during the week.
Yeah, someone had said something out, and actually we don't have that as a final yet. We have 16-10. Okay, do we have that as a final?
It's La Puente 22-19.
22-19 in overtime over Workman. Tommy Kiss's alma mater, Workman.
Wow.
So good for La Puente. That's you don't want to have your school vandalized, then lose to your rival who you think did it. That's kind of an interesting thing. Stevie and I got a tweet tonight from someone about Whittier. Whittier beat Sure tonight 39-0, and this guy, he seems to think, I don't know if you know who he is, he seems to think that Whittier is going to beat La Serna next week in the Del Rio League opener.
I haven't seen Whittier, and just going by their scores, they've been kind of inconsistent. They're really good one week. And
this is Visco Ansich, right?
Yeah. Son of
Marion Ansich,
Marion, who just got the announcement that he's going to be inducted in the CIF Hall of Fame.
Great legendary coach
this month.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty impressive score, because I was thinking that Whittier would win the game, but I didn't think they'd win 39-0.
Yeah.
Because Sure beat El Monte earlier, but they've
starting to wonder how that's looking.
Yeah, they've been blown out in every other game besides that. So that's a big win. I'm not sure they can beat La Serna. I think La Serna, I've seen Cal. I haven't seen Whittier, but I've
seen El Rancho?
No, I haven't seen El Rancho, but I've seen they got.
I've seen Pioneer.
Yeah, I've seen Pioneer.
5-0 Pioneer.
Yeah. I just think that's going to be one team and 5 teams. I think La Serna,
like Alma in the Mission League.
Yeah, I guess you can, from what I saw tonight.
Right.
But it's going to be a battle. I think the battle is for second place in that league.
Even though I think that will be one team and 6 teams in the Mission League for Alma.
Yeah. And this is why there's not, like you're right. There's not a lot of other games. Next week is going to be a really good league. Is that Monrovia San Marino next week?
No, that's in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
And
in the area, we've got Bonita hosting Claremont, 2 5-0 teams next Friday night, and you also got Charter Oak with one loss against
Chino.
undefeated Chino.
Yeah.
Two really big games to open the Hossie.
Well,
and,
in the Whittier area, we have the Battle of La Habra next week. Both teams undefeated. La Habra and Sonora won tonight over Alicia Nogales 47-46.
Okay, yeah.
So that's going to be two 5-0 teams.
So we went from one kind of a dog week of low schedule games. It'll pick right back up next week. And
I'm
Aaron
happy
will be
about
at the big
that.
one. Aaron will be at the Almont Sarah game. I hate to break this to you, Aaron. The rumor is that is going to be the Fox Television 7:30 game of the week. Of course, that would be the game that you get.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I'll have to. Hopefully, Almont has that one in the bank, and I can write a game story.
If I remember right, there's not a very big press box there at Sarah High School.
I don't really. know the press box.
I mean, if the Fox guys are going to be there, I guess they're gonna have
like I said, I'll be over at the casino eating chow mein and playing Hold'em.
Yeah, but whatever.
Walk over or something, find my way.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, that La Habra is a big game, and then Cal is playing Pioneer that night too. To be intrigued to see how good Pioneer is. I saw Cal last night. They look impressive in spots. I think they're better than Pioneer, but Pioneer is, they're on such a high. They're on such a high, and they got the most experienced quarterback in the league back. He's
Hernandez.
Yeah. So that's an intriguing game as well.
Right. Before we go, do you worry, that like if I do go to the casino, Freddie, before the game, and I get on some kind of rush of cards, that I'm actually not going to end up going to the Almont game? That I'll just be playing, and I'd be like, hey, Fred, I can't get up right now. I've won 10 hands in a row. If you think I'm getting up, you're crazy. Yeah, that would be an interesting combo.
But you never get hot like that. The good thing with Aaron's league, Aaron doesn't drink, so you don't have to worry about him getting stuck in the
But you never get hot like that. I won 5 hands in a row in Vegas, man, playing blackjack. That's like
I didn't know that you did anything other than bet on the games.
Horses and games, sports, yeah. When in Vegas,
I can't do it.
What?
It's so hard for me to bet.
Yeah,
on the games.
he's like Jay Leno.
I put $10 down and I'm sweating it out for 45 minutes. I mean, I got this empty feeling in my
if
stomach.
you lose that $10, you feel like the biggest sucker in the world.
I just can't do it. But if I win that $10, I'm going crazy the rest of the night.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how people gamble. I mean, I have to stay away from it because it just drives me crazy.
I think for most people who are not,
I can show you.
When I make a $5 bet with somebody and I'm watching the game, it bothers me if I lose. It just does.
No, I think most people when they go to Vegas, they kind of set a budget for themselves.
Not me.
Well, no, you're not most people. But I mean, that's what I do. I kind of use it as my entertainment because I'm not really.
I didn't even think you bet at all. I just learned something new tonight.
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a while.
Do you win?
Huh?
Do you win?
Well, years ago
what do you bet?
Everything
or
no? One week me and a buddy went first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
And we stayed in a hotel casino.
So sports.
And we just bet.
You're not a table game guy.
No.
Slot machines. No.
I'm more slot machines. Let me tell you a story. Once in Vegas, I kind of don't play by the blackjack rules. I go by my gut.
Right.
And let them not sit at your table,
and
Steve.
People don't like that.
No. Of
course I think not. I hit on 17 and I got a 3
did
to
win. Did the whole table get up and walk away?
No, but the guy next to me, he kind of gave me a funny look.
Yeah,
but I won. That's all I cared about.
Well, the good thing is you probably did it at the $5 tables, not the $100 tables.
Also once in
the
Vegas,
$100 tables, they tend to get a little bit more upset.
Once I was walking through the casino and I walked by the crap table, and I saw a gentleman. He had 4 $500 chips, so $2,000, and he did that 5 straight hands.
Wow.
Or rolls, I should say, and lost them all.
Oh, God. Yeah. All right. Well, it happens.
All
right. Anyway. So why don't we get into
Tommy Kiss? Tommy Kiss. Tommy Kiss has the life I want you to know. So he's in Hawaii this week. That's where he's at. He's not working. He just sends me a picture. He's in a restaurant.
Having a Mai Tai?
He has Meta World Peace across the table from us. There's Tommy out in Honolulu or where the Lakers are. He'll probably taking a couple games.
He deserves it. Tommy works hard. Works very hard.
Yeah.
Chino Hills Tom. Okay, we'll get into biggest surprise, biggest disappointment. There's not a lot to choose from I
my biggest
expect
surprise is Muir beating Burbank 21-20. If I'm looking at all of the scores and you consider all of the SGVN, I think that's kind of the biggest surprise that they got that victory.
Disappointment?
Biggest disappointment. God, that's so difficult to say. I think St. Francis losing as bad as they did to Calabasas.
That's got to be it.
As you said, everyone thought that would be a more competitive game between two undefeated teams. St. Francis has come so far the last couple of years that I don't think anyone expected.
That's got to be one of their worst losses in a few years. I mean, even when I think 4 years ago when they were down, when they played a team like Sarah, they were somewhat competitive.
Right.
I think they lost by 17.
Makes you wonder how good Calabasas is, but I agree. We're in agreement that the biggest disappointment is St. Francis. What's your biggest surprise, CBR?
I'm going to throw out something to Bosco Tech. Them beating Cantwell. That's it's been
Cantwell's really dropped.
Yeah, it's been a while.
No Brigham Harwell.
Yeah, it's been a while since Bosco Tech has won a game, and Cantwell is down this year. But I thought that would be kind of a tight game, and they beat him 36-14. So
the Brigham Harwell effect. Look at what Alamany's doing with Brigham Harwell over there as strength and conditioning coach and as one of the defensive coaches. Alamany's actually playing defense this year. This is the same Brigham Harwell that was on the block for Amat, ready to scoop up and become an assistant coach and strength and conditioning coach. And it didn't happen. That was part of the reason why I said it was one of the most disappointing, or was it the most disappointing off season or the worst off season I've ever seen over at Amat. And maybe Amat could say, well, hey, it really hasn't cost us, but maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. Anyways, Brigham Harwell having an impact, at Alamany, and now that Cantwell doesn't have them, they've really fallen.
Yeah. And they're a small team this year. I saw them against Pioneer. They couldn't have more than 25, 26 players suited up that night. So
my biggest surprise was not actually anything to do with the game, Freddie. It was homecoming tonight at Arcadia, and their freshman homecoming princess, I believe her name was Kaylin Aguilar. They asked her.
I remember the name.
Yeah, they asked her. Well, because I'm very proud of this girl.
Okay.
They asked her, what's your favorite? No.
They asked a question?
Better.
Oh, is this when they announced her?
They announced, right, exactly. Okay. And hers was, what's your favorite music? And she came with the greatest answer that a woman or a man could come with. And that is 3 simple words: anything but country. And it was just outstanding someone that age.
Applause?
Well, by me, yeah. Someone that age, to be that smart and raised that right, good for her, good for her parents. Anything but country.
Smitty's not going to like that, because whenever you ever went to a South Hills baseball game, the country music was blaring.
Another one of my biggest disappointments is your likeness wasn't on an Amat card tonight, or at least I didn't see it. I don't see the Aram.
I think I'm gone from the program.
I didn't see the Aram likeness anymore on the card. Remember the
I was kind of disappointed in what I saw from Crespi.
James, our boy Escarcega.
Yeah, they
didn't even look competitive, did they, in that game?
Yeah, I mean, and there were a couple of times they had it 3rd and 10 or 12, and they're still running the dive play or the
well, that's what they do. That's Troy Thomas.
I know, but you got to come out of it in situations.
And I don't know if
it doesn't make sense. Why not just punt the ball on 3rd down then?
They're trying to win first down.
It was so miserable for them, and Troy Thomas after the game. You remember that thing he did at Servite where they, the players.
Credo.
Well, they didn't do that tonight, and Amat turned around. They were waiting for it. He just waved it off. No, we're not doing it tonight. No.
I don't deserve it.
I don't know. He didn't say that. It's just you could look at his face and you could just see the
Look,
they just wanted to get out of there.
Escarcega tipped us off last night, or tipped anyone off when he started referencing like the Miracle on Ice. If you're going into a game and you're reaching that far down,
Miracle on Ice.
Yeah,
they just beat him last year. It's the Miracle on Ice.
Well, if you're reaching that far down to like say, hey, we got a shot, or whatever, then you're basically admitting that you do need some kind of divine intervention in order to win the game, and
well,
it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's like a friend of mine told me once when sometimes you reference the 51 Giants great comeback, and you reference these things in sports that we all know about. Well, there's a reason why you can mention it, because they don't happen very often.
Right. Yeah, and you're in trouble if you need that.
Yeah.
So There you have it. Anyways, week 5, I believe.
SCPL, SoCal Prep Legends.
Yeah, SoCal
PrepXtra.
Prep Legends. Freddie's pet project all week. Takes a big toll on this guy. Get on the blogs, everybody. Discuss, what there is to discuss out of this limited schedule and what's coming up later. College football tomorrow. If you're a Big Ten lover, a pure Big Ten lover, then tomorrow's just absolute heaven for you. Iowa and Wisconsin at 9 a.m.
Oh, that game! Then, that game excites. That's just
Ohio State against Indiana. Ohio State against Indiana. I'm talking being a purist right now. Minnesota against Northwestern. If you like those old Big Ten, original Big Ten matchups, I do.
What a life you have! At 8 in the morning, I'll be coaching my
9 in the morning
AYSO game, and then we got another one in the afternoon, and then UCLA.
Well, that's what Twitter's for. Yeah, UCLA against ASU. I'm scared to think what those ASU players are doing at this hour. Right now, being in LA. Anyways, thank you for
big night. All right.
Thank you for
Coach
watching.
Haggerty, my hand's extended. Anytime you want to talk, big guy.
You think he's watching this?
I think he's watching this. I think these things get radiated over to him. He'll come around. Steve Haggerty's.
He'll come around.
At the end of the day, he's all right.
All you gotta do is apologize, and everything will be fine.
Who are you talking about?
Haggerty.
Okay. And that'll do it.